Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your
Look at the delegates, okay? Let's look at how it looks out there for us today in the Super Tuesday primary, all right? Steve Kornacki is pretty good at breaking down numbers, so here you go.
Let's take a look at Tuesday and what is up for grabs then. 1,344 delegates. We're getting into the big time here with delegates. And the key number to remember on Tuesday night, statewide and by congressional district, everywhere you're looking here, is 15. Candidates need to be hitting 15% statewide, 15% in each individual congressional district. You got 53 districts there in California to be collecting delegates. And the challenge for Joe Biden on Tuesday night is this. If you look at all of these states, basically across the board, Bernie Sanders looks positioned to hit 15%. We don't know if he has a ceiling, but we know his floor seems to be above 15%. So Bernie Sanders looks like he is going to be collecting delegates across the country. Looks like he's going to be collecting a lot of delegates out of California, where the polls have him doing well. The challenge for Biden, can he get up to 15% in as many places as possible? Because there are a lot more question marks on the board for Biden. And the hope for Biden, looking at this news from Pete Buttigieg tonight, is in some of these states, is Buttigieg's absence going to provide a new pool of voters that Biden can tap into to hit that 15% threshold and not fall as far behind Sanders and the delegates? Let me give you a sense of what we're talking about right here. California, the numbers have been a little all over the map in terms of the non-Sanders candidates in California. But the question here, this is one of them from our friends at CNN the other day. They got Biden at 13% here. He desperately needs to get to 15% statewide. They got Buttigieg running at 7. Is there some Buttigieg support enough they could get Biden up to 15? It's a critical difference for Joe Biden. Remember, California, a state where you got a lot of mail-in voting, a lot of the votes already cast. There will be a lot cast on Tuesday, but a lot are already cast there. And you could just see this happening across the board. Let me show you a really dramatic one. This was Massachusetts last night. Massachusetts doesn't have a lot of early votes, so a lot of folks, most folks there are going to vote on Tuesday. It's a Sanders war and fight. Biden's all the way back at 11%, but Buttigieg is sitting at 12% in Massachusetts. There are a lot of delegates in Massachusetts. If this were the result right now, Bernie Sanders is picking up dozens of delegates in Massachusetts, and Biden is picking up none. If Biden can get to 15% in Massachusetts, suddenly he's not falling that far behind Bernie Sanders and the delegates. So play that out in Massachusetts, play that out in Minnesota, play it out in Colorado, all these states where Biden's a question mark for delegates right now, but Sanders isn't. That is the difference between Joe Biden being close enough coming out of Super Tuesday to make a run at Sanders in the later March states, or falling farther behind and having that math be more difficult when we get to March 10th, March 17th.
Yep, and I'm March 17th, just so you know. March 10th would be Idaho and Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and Washington State, which is suffering from the coronavirus especially. So that's really why the other candidates surrendered before Super Tuesday, because the moderates in the party, the corporate part of the Democratic Party, had pressured these people, there's no doubt in my mind, Klobuchar and Buttigieg, to live another day, to just pull out, live another day, and give some of their voters their second choice, which they hope is Joe Biden. Otherwise, Joe Biden would come up empty on the delegate count in big, big, big delegate pools like Texas, like Massachusetts, and California, where he's polling at 12%. And again, I told you 15 is your favorite number today because you need 15% in each congressional district in all those states in order to be apportioned any delegates. And so Biden could literally walk out of California with 0. He could have walked out of Texas with 0. And that's why Klobuchar and Buttigieg were pressured to get out. Now, Buttigieg is young. I mean, he's very young. He's 38 years old, and they probably, said to him, hey, you're great on the stump. We'll get you next time. You got to show you're a party guy. Give it up, give it up, give it up. And Biden was like, licking him all over, various body parts. Oh, you remind me of my son, Beau, and I never say that, and this is so beautiful, and thank you so much, and blah, blah, blah. All this because Biden won South Carolina. Biden is a Southern candidate. He will probably do well in every state that will not vote for him as president. Alabama, Mississippi. Well, today, I would say Alabama, Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia. Biden will do okay. He's a Southern candidate. Now, Virginia, yes, they are likely to vote for a Democrat for president. But do you think we're going to flip Arkansas? You think we're going to flip, I don't know. I mean, I don't see us flipping Mississippi. So he will win the nomination in places where we have no chance in the general. And that's interesting, and it's just a little truth about Biden. The other truth is you have to ask yourself, are Buttigieg voters gonna go to Biden? So that's why I was explaining to you that Jessica, I was telling, the California caller that right before the break, Jessica was a Buttigieg voter. She loved him. Everything about him. She adored him. She loved him. She wouldn't listen to me. I kept saying to her, don't throw your vote away. It's not going to work for him. I already, ran the numbers. It's, long shot at best. And then as I'm talking to her, it drops out. And then, we sat last night, went over your ballot. California, your ballot is crazy. You got Roque de la Fuente in the first position on the primary, on the presidential primary. What a wild ballot you had. I don't know how many pages that thing was. It was like 2,000 pages. It was amazing. So her second choice was Bernie. So that's how she voted. She voted for Bernie. And by the way, for your state house, for your state assembly, she voted for me. She wrote me in. I tweeted it. So that was her ballot. Okay. So and then this morning, I have to tell you, she woke up sick as a dog. I mean, really sick. And she's not she's like me. We don't, when we get sick, it's like, oh my God, right? Something really bad just happened. But she woke up this morning, cold sweats, clammy, throwing up everywhere. So we had to go to urgent care this morning. And because she's got California insurance, guess what? Here in Florida, F you. So $996, and no, they did not have a coronavirus test kit. And they also told her she didn't meet the criteria for testing because the CDC has made the criteria for testing. Have you been in Wuhan, China? I'm not kidding. Have you been in Wuhan, China, or have you been around somebody who's been diagnosed with coronavirus? If you answer no to those two questions, they will not test you for coronavirus because Donald Trump's administration doesn't want to see the numbers. And number two, the CDC under Donald Trump was so incompetent that they built a 3-step test that fails to diagnose anything. And so that test is worthless. Also, in this country here, we've only tested 500 people total. China has tested millions of people. Other countries have tested hundreds of thousands of people. The great United States of America has tested 500 freaking people, and no one has the test. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.